Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jitatmanah prasantasya paramatma samahitah shitoshna sukhadukkeshu tatha manapamanayoho. Uddharet atmanatmanam. One who has rescued oneself, conquered oneself, who has acquired the antahkarana shuddhi, purity of heart, antahkarana nischalyam, and thereby the self-knowledge. That yogi is described as jitatmanah prasantasya. When atma, antahkaranam, is jitam, is conquered, mastered, by making it a friend, by making it free from the inimical tendencies of raga dveshas, what Lord Krishna calls asuri vrittis, jitatmana, prasantasya, one enjoys a total tranquility which is the nature of mind. Paramatma samahitah, the Paramatma reveals himself. Paramatma is always revealing itself. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gurotmana prakasate. Even though Kathopanishad says the Atma is hidden and does not shine, always shines. Paramatma samahitah shines through the mind. And from the mind, when the distorting factors, the avidya, kama, karma are removed, then the self reveals in its true nature, its true glory, which is Paramatma, the limitless self. And this wise person gains abidance in the knowledge. That abidance is described as shitoshna sukhadukkeshu tatha manapamanayoho prasantasya samahi paramatma samahitah. The Paramatma reveals himself, the very self, regardless of what the external situations are, heat or cold, pleasure or pain, honor or dishonor. Jnana vijnana truptatma, gain the complete contentment by knowing oneself. Because Atma is of the nature of contentment, of the nature of Ananda. Kutastho vichitendriya yukta ityuchyate yogi. This wise person is called yukta or yogi. The yogi who was striving has become yukta, now has attained his goal. And again, one of the characteristics of yogi is samatva darshanam. Yogi or wise person seeing the same self everywhere. Suhrun, mitra, ari, udasina, whatever the people are, friend or foe, sinner or saint, mine or yours, in all of them one who sees sameness, sees the very self, vishishyate, he excels. So this yogi, Lord Krishna uses the word yogi even for a wise person. Vishishyate, he excels. Thus, this is the very goal of life, which Bhagavad Gita, which Vedanta presents before us, and also teaches how to achieve that goal. So, from the verse 10 onwards, In the next 23 verses, Lord Krishna will describe yoga rudasya lakshanam. What is lakshanam? The inherent characteristic of a yoga rudha. One who has ascended the yoga, one has attended, meaning attained the abidance in the self. Phalam cha. So Lakshana was stated, Jitatmana prasantasya vishishyate. The result is also vishishyate, one who samatva, enjoys samatvam, enjoys freedom. So that yoga and the accessories associated with the yoga, they are all being described in the next 23 verses. So now the next verse, verse number 10 tells us
Yogi
yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthitah ekakiyata chittatma nirashira parigraha. The meaning of the word yogi has to be interpreted depending on the context. So yogi is the perfected yogi, perfected sage also. A yogi is an aspirant who wants to become a true yogi. So yogi, dhyayi, one who wants to meditate, one who wants to gain abidance in knowledge. Satatam yunjita. So Lord Krishna says that one having gained the knowledge, the only thing that remains for this knower of the self is to gain an abidance in that knowledge. As you know, there are three obstacles to knowledge. One is called avaranam, ignorance, which is removed by shravanam, by listening to teacher, gaining the knowledge, what exactly the Upanishads teach us, what is my true nature. Mananam, when there are doubts about the authenticity of this knowledge because of my experiences and because of their views, samshaya nivritti, removing those doubts with anukula chintanam, proper thinking in keeping with the teaching of the Upanishads. Nididhyasanam, becoming free from the habitual error of the habitual identification with the body. It is that identification, habitual identification, also called vasana, dehata buddhi. Buddhi, the notion that I am the deha. And this notion being from the time beginningless, therefore it has become very deeply rooted, such that it has just become a habit. That I am the body has just become a habit. To take the body, mind, sense organs to be myself. It is svabhava, not swarupa, that's not my nature. But then this identification is so habitual, not spontaneous, habitual. To me it looks like that is what I am. But now I know who I am. Therefore then the final task to be done is to make myself free from that habitual error by creating a new habit based on the knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. So this process of owning up the knowledge by being alert, savadhanam, alert about my essential nature that I know. But if I am not alert, then it's likely that my old habit takes over my mind. Therefore, dehata buddhi, that habitual identification, is likely to take over my mind. At that time, deprive me of the benefits of my knowledge. So, I derive the benefit from the knowledge when the knowledge becomes spontaneous. Even after gaining knowledge, I may need to be aware and alert that I am Brahman, because likely the habitual error takes over. Therefore, Vedanta prescribes nididhyasanam. Being alert, vigilant, conscious about my true nature, which I know, being conscious about that. Meaning, not identifying with the body. Overcoming the habit by creating a new habit, I am Brahman. This process is called nididhyasanam, meaning it is basically the alertness. This knowledge or this meditation is being alert. Alert about what I know. Whereas the alertness is often taken or snatched away from me because of the habit. They were not allowing the habit of identifying with the body. So nididhyasanam is not allowing the mind to identify. Recognizing this is anatma, and therefore not identifying. It is not the meditation upon the self as such, because self being my own self, I cannot meditate, I cannot become meditator of the self. But that I am the self. Being alert about that fact and making the mind free from its habitual tendency of identifying, meaning negating the non-self, that is the process. However, the instructions that Lord Krishna gives here are useful for any kind of meditation. Meditation can be of two kinds. One, as we said, is a meditation upon the meditator, sort of, where I want to let go the duality of the meditator and meditated, because what is meditated is my own self. Second meditation is that which involves the duality of the dhyata and dhya, the meditator and meditated, which is extended meditation. And that also requires a concentration of mind. That also requires a purity of mind. And therefore, to make the mind free from ragadveshas, the attachments and aversions, which take my mind away from the object of meditation. So that is necessary for any meditation, the antahkarana shuddhi and antahkarana naishalyam. The purification of mind and the focus of the mind are necessary for any meditation. So this instruction will be helpful for any kind of meditation. You're meditating upon Ishtadevata, repeating mentally, repeating mantra. Kaya vang manah karyamuttam pujanam japaschintanam kramad. The worship at the level of kaya, the body, at the level of speech, at the level of mind. Upasana, mental worship, also called meditation. And generally that is called meditation. So there also all these guidelines are very helpful. Yogi yunjita satatam. This yogi, this aspirant, satatam yunjita, may constantly focus his mind. Atma means mind, may constantly concentrate his mind upon the object of meditation. Later on, Lord Krishna will tell us what the object of meditation is intended. But here Lord Krishna says it is necessary that meditation perform constantly, because now he has done everything else that is to be done. In fact, Bhashyakara says here that the kind of requirements which are stated here by Lord Krishna for the meditator can only be fulfilled by the one who is otherwise free from all responsibilities, all demands. Meaning one who is a karma sannyasi, who has renounced all the duties. Only that person can primarily satisfy these requirements. But anybody can satisfy when we become a sannyasi at that time. Atyashramastha sakalendriyani nirudhya. The Kaivalya Upanishad is about atyashramastha. One who transcends all the ashramas, the brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, even sannyasa, as a stage. So one who just becomes free from all expectations, needs, duties. So one can become a sannyasi at the time of meditation anyway, and should become. Then alone it is possible to focus the mind upon the object of meditation. Rahasisthitaha, Lord Krishna says that may the meditator, the yogi, perform his sadhana or meditation in solitude, rahasisthitaha, so that the external disturbing forces of noise and whatever else also do not disturb him. Ekaki, ideally the meditator is alone, not with families or friends or even with servants. So his mind is free from the concern about anybody who is connected to him. So ekaki, in solitude and all by himself or herself. The last word of the second line, aparigraha, without any parigraha, without any possessions. Meaning that even if there are any possessions for this yogi, they are the minimum possessions for sustaining his body. For a sannyasi, kaupinam, yugalam, and maybe a begging bowl, or to cover the body, maybe blanket. Ideally, that's what is meant about, meaning that the meditator does not keep any possessions more than what is bare necessity. Because possession also can create a concern and create about its safety and well-being, etc. So minimum possession, aparigraha. So rahasisthitaha ekaki aparigraha. Bhashyakara says that these qualifications can ideally be satisfied only by a karma sannyasi. Further, yata chittatma, yata niyata, one who has mastered the chitta and atma. Atma means the body. One who has control over his mind, sense organs, body, his own personality. Remember that Lord Krishna earlier said, Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu. The Atma means the body, mind, sense complex. Can become my bandhu, can become my friend. I can enjoy the grace of that Atma, of the nature of body, mind, sense. Yena Atmaiva Atmana Jitaha, when I have conquered the ragadveshas. So Yata Chitta Atma is the one who has made this upadhi, the body, mind, sense complex, his friend, who enjoys the favor of this upadhi, and therefore enjoys a control over them. The point is that in your meditation you do not want various factors to disturb it. So the factors then possibly can disturb the meditation. Is this body, mind, sense complex when it is not favorable to me? Yet a chittatma who has made his mind, body, his friends. So control also is not something that is forced. In the beginning you may, but otherwise then that also should not require an effort, otherwise your mind will be distracted into controlling them. And nirashihi, free from ashihi, free from desires. Meaning that even through the performance of this meditation, which can be any meditation, can be even mental worship, or meditation upon the self, ideally one should be nirashihi, free from desires or expectation of any rewards from this mental process of meditation. I'm just doing it out of pleasure. Because if meditation also is a mental act, if that also is performed with asha or expectation, that will occupy a part of the mind. So Lord Krishna here is prescribing the various basic factors or conditions to eliminate external and internal disturbing factors. So rahasya sthitaha in solitude is to become free from disturbing external factors, and similarly ekaki also, and nirashihi, free from asha, expectation, is the freedom from disturbing inner factors. Aparigraha. So all of these are to make the mind free from concerns, anxieties, expectations. This is called yoga anga. This is the anga, the accessories for yoga, for meditation. Then the next verse is Suchau deshe pratisthapya sthiramasanamatmanah natyuchritam nati nicham Jailajina kushottaram. Further, Suchau deshe pratisthapya asanam. Suchau deshe asanam pratisthapya. Here asanam means asyadasmin, that on which one sits is called asanam. Asanam also can mean the posture of the body. Here, asana is the seat upon which the meditator is sitting. So where should that asanam, the seat, where should be placed? Suchau deshe. So not only you are in solitude, but ideally you are in a place which is a sacred place, which enjoys the sanctity. Not only cleanliness, but also a sanctity. For the simple reason that the mind is likely to be influenced by the place in which you are meditating, you are living even. So Shucha Udesha. May the meditator perform the meditation in a place, desha, which is Shuchi, which is clean, pure, even sacred, so by samskara. Places such as the bank of the river, just caves in the mountains. So they may be sacred or pure by nature, or a temple, if there is a quiet place. Or in your own home also there can be a corner. If you puja room, then a room for the puja or worship, or a corner which is reserved only for this, meditation and worship. So that place also gets some samskaras, also gets, gets influenced by what you are doing. And that way that also builds up certain purity and sanctity. So that is why they prescribe that it's better that we perform our pujas, prayers, meditation in the same place consistently. Because the place also gets influenced by our thinking, by our, the state of our mind. We create that in course of time. For example, in a temple, the prana pratishtha is done, the infusion of the prana of the life is done to the murti. And then as the devotees visit the temple and perform the pujas and express their devotion, the deity also gathers power because of what the devotees offer. In turn, the devotees again they get the beneficiaries of that power of the murti. So we also, by performing our prayers and meditations every day, as though infuse some energy into that place, and then we become the beneficiary of that energy. Shuchau deshe asanam pratisthapya. Atmana asanam pratisthapya. Lord Krishna, one's own asana, meaning that you should not change, not use somebody else, this as best as possible, use their own asana. Consistently. Natyuchritam, natinicham. The place that you have selected should not be too high nor too low in terms of elevation. So certain elevation is considered to be very favorable, conducive for meditation. So place like Uttarakashi, which is about 3,000 feet in elevation, they say it is very, very, very conducive for meditation. If the elevation is too much, then there may be rarity of air, there may be also lack of oxygen, air may be too thin, and therefore one may not be comfortable. Places too low, like in a valley, etc., then it's possible that it's too humid or warm. If all of these choices are available, if available. Not Tyochitam, not Nicham, not too high, not too low. Or maybe where you are sitting also, it should not be high because you may fall down. Not too low because you may be directly sitting on the floor and therefore you may be affected by the cold and the moisture, the humidity. When we went to Uttarakashi in 76, when Swami took us there, That time the Ganges is flowing and it's a fast flow. And many students were fond of sitting just on the edge of that, the river. So Bada Swami would say jocularly, hey, if you meditate there, you may wind, when you wake up, when you wind up in Ganga Sagar, meaning that Ganga may take you away. So be careful. So you choose a place which is very appropriate and conducive. Chaila Janakoshottaram. How to make your asanam, how to make your seat. Lord Krishna says, Chaila, Ajinam, Kusha, Uttaram. In that order. Pratham Chailam. Chailam means a soft cloth. Ajinam, the skin of an animal, like a deer skin. Kusha, the kusha grass. So in the rivers, first the grass, and then the animal skin, and then the soft cloth. This is what typically what the rishis used to do. And we require that the kusha grass is to protect the meditator from the moisture, from the cold, etc. of the ground. And Mahatmas also would say, to insulate you from so the energy that you supposedly generate during meditation also remains within you and doesn't get transmitted. So there it also acts as an insulation sort of. But difficult to sit directly on that kusha grass. On that there is animal skin also is a protection as well as insulation. But on that there is soft cloth which is conducive for you to sit. So Lord Krishna is giving a lot of details here on what is required for meditation. It's called anga, all the accessories required for meditation. Then next Lord Krishna says, so pratisthapya, you now set up your seat, asanam. Then what is to be done? Pratisthapya kim? So the verse number 12 says, Tatrekagram manah krutva Yata chittendriya kriyah Upavishyasane yunjat Yogamatma vishuddhaye. Tatra tasmin asane, because Lord Krishna Chairajana Kushottaram. The last word of the previous verse was description of the asanam, which is made up of the three layers of kusha grass and the animal skin and the cloth. Tatra. So this pronoun tatra refers to that one, that asanam. So tatra means tasmin asane, upavishya. So meditation should be performed while sitting. This is addressed in the Brahma Sutra, asinaha sambhavat. It is better that one should be meditating while sitting comfortably. You can meditate however you want. But if you are meditating while standing, for example, you may lose your balance. If your mind gets absorbed in the object of meditation, then you cannot maintain the balance of the body and then one can fall down. If you're lying down, then it's likely that tamoguna may take over, then you may sleep. And therefore, sitting in a meditative posture, ideally, there are certain postures prescribed from meditation, like Padmasana is ideal. With Sukhasanam, that we normally sit. Siddhasanam. So these asanas are prescribed as very helpful for meditation. Mainly to restrict the flow of the blood into the lower limbs when the legs are folded. In Siddhasana also there are certain, and then they talk about the bandha, etc., how to prevent the breath from going out. But even if you don't worry about those things, but sitting posture is, as I said, that prevents one from falling asleep or from falling down. Also, it prevents the flow of blood to the lower limbs, and therefore the blood flow is ideally available to upper limbs and to the brain. So brain gets an extra flow of blood. That is why they would also prescribe that meditation is best done while the stomach is empty. If stomach is full, then the blood will preferably flow to the stomach. So that's the reason why we feel sleepy after eating. Therefore, to feel alert. So all these instructions also help us as to how to remain alert during meditation. That's why a time is prescribed, which is not mentioned here. People often ask Swami, when should I perform meditation? Ideally in the morning. And after waking up and, all the morning chores are over, after bath, then that is the best time for meditation. We get good rest during the sleep. If it's early morning, then that whole atmosphere is free from disturbance. And the sages said, that early morning, like Brahma Muhurta, like Saptarshis, etc., are there in the sky, so they are there to bless you. Just a matter of belief. Although Lord Krishna does not mention a time here, but then the scriptures talk about the time also. If meditation is not possible at that time for whatever reason, doesn't mean that you should not do meditation. It is a time that is convenient to you. Tatra upavishya, that's how the connection, the anvaya is. Tatra, the first verse of the first line, upavishya, the first to the second line, they are connected. Tatra upavishya. Tatra means there, tasmin asane upavishya. So now that you have set up your asana with the seat as prescribed in the previous verse, upavishya, sitting down. Lord Krishna will talk about the posture of the body a little later in the next verse. Manah yata chittendriya kriyaha. Becoming one who has yata, who has controlled, mastered chitta indriya kriyaha. And so one who has controlled the kriyas or activities of chitta and indriya. Chitta means mind, indriya means sense organs, and of course the body also. That will the posture of the body is stated in the next verse. So thus, first Lord Krishna says, when you sit down, bring your whole personality and quieten down the mind, and let the mind, let the sense organs, all of them relax completely. When they relax, then they become supportive of you, favorable to you, and that's how it's called, you control them. Understand that we expect that this yogi already enjoys a level of purity of mind. Otherwise, if the mind has ragadveshas and they are the obstacles for the concentration, tatta ekagram manah kritva. So yata chittendriya kriya, calming down the activities of the chitta and the indriya, the sense organs in the mind. Yada panchavatishtante jnanani manasasah buddhischana vicheshtati. The Kathopanishad describes the state of mind called yoga. where all the jnanendriyas, the organs of perception, are settled in their own seat, meaning that they do not have activity, they don't go out. The sense organs of perception are now free from the need of having to engage with their respective sense objects, because they find from within what they are seeking by engaging in the sense objects. If there is a calm or quiet inside, then the sense organs have no need to go out to achieve that calm or quietude. Chitta also, buddhischana vicheshtari, the buddhi, the mind also now free from chesta. Well, Lord Krishna is one word, nirashi, become free from asha, expectations. So these expectations, desires, they are one distraction of mind. Ragadveshas, of course, are the distractions of the mind. The duty, the kartavya, the sense of responsibility also becomes a distraction of the mind. We have to do this or do that, and therefore what is to be done. So, what is not to be done, what is to be done, that also can weigh upon the mind. And therefore, as best as we can, make the mind free from these factors that are all habitual factors, which can distract the mind, which can disturb the mind, can make it restless. Yata chittendriya kriya tatra ekagram tatra tasmin asa ekagmanah ekagram krutva. Make the mind ekagram, focus upon the object of meditation. Ekam agre yasya tat, that which has only one thing in front of it, only one job it has, agenda it has, and that is the meditation upon the desired object of meditation. So let the mind understand that this is the agenda. Right now I have no other agenda. Nirashihi, free from agenda. Oh mind, if you need to do something, postpone it for the time being. Ideally, we choose a time when the mind is free from anxieties. Very often we fit our meditations, prayers in between various activities, and one is over and the other is to start. In that kind of hectic activities, the mind is not free from the effect of the previous activity which is supposedly completed. And mind is concerned about next activity to be performed. So ekagrata, single pointedness becomes difficult. As best as possible, therefore, choose the time and choose the situation where the mind knows that now nothing is waiting for me. That is why sannyasa was talked about. Sannyasa means renunciation of duties. I have nothing to accomplish. I remind myself, remember, this is the accomplishment of already accomplished. In my life, there is nothing to be accomplished. I already am what I am seeking to be. Therefore, O mind, give up any agenda of accomplishing what you don't have, what is not accomplished, because you already are. All that is necessary to recognize who you are or own up who you are. That's all that is needed. So by reminding ourselves the Vedantic teaching of the accomplishment of what is already accomplished, that's how I can make my mind free from... It's a habit of the mind to always do something and look forward to something achieve something, accomplish, that has become habit. To be anxious about something, to worry about something. So I make my mind free from the habits of making my mind understand. Nothing is to be achieved. We have to own up what we are. Be aware of what we are. This meditation is meant for being aware of what I am. Because I am what I want to be, I am what I am seeking to be. And therefore here, I am not seeking to accomplish anything. I just want to be. In this case, a meditation is meditation of just being. Just be what you are. Understand that in just being there is self-sufficiency. Because mind is seeking that sufficiency. Hey, sufficiency is there in this very being. So that way, reminding the mind of what it is that we are doing. That is how the mind can become free from other habitual distracting factors. The ambition is habitual. Agenda is habitual. Anxiety is habitual. Desire is habitual. In case any of these habitual factors appear in the mind, then I work with the mind. I counsel my mind, educate my mind, and make it free from these habitual disturbing factors. There's no reason why the mind has to worry. No reason why the mind has to be anxious. No reason why the mind has to engage itself in any activity to achieve something. There's no reason at all. Because I am self-sufficient. All that is necessary is for me to be what I am. Habitually, because of identifying with what I am not, I am denying myself what I am. Lord Krishna will say that later on. Tam vidyad yoga dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sangnidam. This yoga is dukkha viyoga. This yoga or the joining is disjoining from dukkha or pain. I already connected myself with the pain in terms of identifying the body, mind, sense complex. So this yoga has to de-identify. Because freedom is my nature, but freedom is denied to me because of this habitual identity. Therefore I feel as though I am limited. So we remind the mind of the whole teaching of Vedanta and relax. Nothing is to be done. Nothing is to be accomplished. Just relax and be what you are. This is yata chittendriya kriya. That is the habitual activities of sense organs, habitual activities of the mind. That slowly you calm down by reasoning with the mind. Tatra manah ekagram krutva, and making the mind single-pointed towards what it is that you meditate. Here the meditation is just being. I can't meditate upon Atma, I don't have to, because just be what I am. The mind has a habit of meditating upon Anatma and identifying. So this nididhyasana is not doing something, but it is undoing what mind habitually does. And so relax. Upavishya asane yogam yunjat. Thus, we perform this yoga, this meditation, upon the reality of what I am. Our Puja Swami used to say, Vedanta addresses the realities of life. And therefore, The Upanishads only unfold the nature of realities. What's the reality of myself? What's the reality of the world? What's the reality of God or Ishvara? And all those realities happen to be one. And there were two to make my mind free from those habitual identifications, withdraws my mind from those habitual distractions by recognizing the reason for distraction. See, Vedanta all along wants to use Viveka as a means, as a tool. The discerning the reality, discerning what is appropriate, what is right. For yogi, of course, the tool is to the pranayama and concentrating mind, which is all right, fine here. But then, for Vedantin, the main tool is Viveka. That whatever distractions there are all due to aviveka, wrong thinking, wrong conclusions. So, all the time reminding the mind of the reality of yourself. That you already are what you are seeking to be. Yogam yunjat, in this manner, you focus your mind upon being aware of yourself. Atma Vishuddhe. Lord Krishna says the purpose of this meditation is Atma Vishuddhi. Vishuddhi, purification. Atma of the mind, purification of mind. Now, the gross purification of mind has already happened through Karma Yoga and through previous practices. So this is the final touch, the fine tuning in terms of purifying the mind. Meditation cannot purify the mind if the mind is grossly under control or overwhelmed by raga dveshas. For that there is Karma Yoga. But now whatever habitual errors are remaining, whatever vasana or habits are remaining, to make the mind free from the habit, here it is Dehatma Buddhi, the habitual identification of upadhi. That is Ashuddhi. Now the impurity is the habitual identification with my upadhi, body, mind, sense complex. Because that denies me being what I am. That denies me the benefit of what I am. This identification is identifying with what I am not. The body I am not, the mind I am not. This is already known. This aspirant knows that, but habitual identification happens. So, Atma Vishuddha. This Vishuddhi is fine tuning. If you want Atma Vishuddhi in terms of becoming free from impurity or raga dvesha, then the meditation of the nature of worship. Then meditating upon the Ishta Devata, meditating with the help of mantra, all of this is for purification of mind. Because more Ishvara comes into my mind, as per Swami, more of Ishvara, less of I. I means raga dveshas. So more I engage my mind as centered upon Ishvara, Ishta Devata, more now the mind gets infused with purity, which is the nature of the Devata or Ishvara. Pavitranam pavitram yo mangalanam cha mangalam. Pavitranam pavitram, Ishvara is the most pious, sacred. Mangalanam cha mangalam, most auspicious. So I can perform meditation upon this pious, auspicious, sacred Ishvara. Or meditation can also be prayer, by the way. You can pray, mental prayer, mental worship, mental visualization. all of that can be meditation we normally perform, that is for purification of mind and the concentration of mind. Atma Vishuddhe, Lord Krishna says, Atmana Manasah Vishuddhe, Vishuddhe for purification of the mind. So purification is taken in a primary sense. That purification is purifying the mind from the influence of attachment and aversion, ragadveshas. The ragadveshas can be eliminated only by bringing Ishvara into our mind and our life. So Karma Yoga is bringing Ishvara into our life. That this karma is performed for Ishvara. It is offered to Ishvara. It is performed by the inspiration of Ishvara, performed by the command of Ishvara, by the knowledge and the power given by Ishvara, and done for Ishvara. So whatever kind of the assets I have for performing karma, which is the buddhi, the intellect, the mind, the sense organs, organs of action, prana, all will be required for performing it. They are all given by Ishvara. And then what is done through them is also offered to Ishvara. So that way Karma Yoga is ideal for purification of mind. That is how Ishvara is brought into my life. And then Upasana, mental meditation is also bringing Ishvara in a more sophisticated way into my life. That gives the final, fine tuning. And then meditating upon the self is the finest tuning. So all along we make the life a process of self-purification. Karma Yoga is for self-purification, like a sculptor removing big chunks of rock. Then takes a finer chisel, like Upasana, and a finest chisel, like the Nididhyasana. In each case, it is a process of self-purification, where impurities and ragadvesha, impurities are fine distractions, impurities, the ignorance or the habitual error. Atma Vishuddhi, for Atma Vishuddhi, pure purification of mind, the yogi should perform meditation, no other agenda. But Lord, you said Nirashihi, that the yogi should perform meditation without any expectation, desire. And here you are saying that for Atma Vishuddhi, for purification of this mind, the yogi is performing action, meditation. So this desire is there. It says no, desire for something which is unaccomplished. Atma Vishuddhi, the purification of mind is already accomplished because mind is pure by nature. It is avidya, kama, karma, the ignorance which gives rise to desire, gives rise to desire prompted activities. So they have created the so-called impurity in the mind. Mind is pure by nature. Means Atma Vishuddhi or purity of mind is not something that is an accomplishment, it is also an accomplishment of what is accomplished. By getting rid of impurities which are incidental. Inherently, the mind is pure. Incidentally, because of aviveka, the impurities have managed to encroach upon in the mind, space in the mind. So Atma Vishuddhi need not be called a desire, because Atma Vishuddhi is always the nature of the Atma. Let us take one more verse here, where Lord Krishna prescribes the posture of the body. Katham Sharira Dharanam. How do I have to maintain my body during the meditation? Samam Kaya Shiro Grivam.
Samam Kaya Shiro Grivam.
Dharayanna Chalam Sthiraha.
Dharayanna Chalam Sthiraha.
Samprekshanasikaagram Swam.
Samprekshanasikaagram Swam.
Dishaschanavalokayan.
Dishashchanavalokayan.
So that is to complete the preparation required for meditation. Samam kaya shirogrivam dharayan achalam sthiraha. Kaya shirogrivam samam dharayan. Kaya, the torso, the main body, middle of the body. Shiraha, the head. Griva, the neck. So remember that the person is now sitting. So his body is now body, neck and head. And so samam, they are supposed to be in the straight line. The body is erect, and the reason is, of course, that the center of gravity also happens to be in the base, and therefore the body is likely to remain steady and not slowly slant on one side. And so that is why the body, the neck and the head are in a straight line, erect. And Lord Krishna again provides two more adjectives. Achalam dharayan, sthirah dharayan. So sthiram, sthira sukham asamanam. Sage Patanjali has said, sthira sukham asanam. Asanam. The sitting must be sthira, steady, and sukham, very comfortable. Meaning we don't have to strain ourselves in trying to place the body in the postures which create a lot of difficulties or pain. So be comfortable. The point is that so that the body does not remain a matter of concern while meditation. So sthira, the yogi is sthira, steady. And achalam, free from any chalam or movement. So motionless and steady. So body is erect, motionless and steady. Because if the body has motion, then that motion will affect the mind also. If body is not steady, so the posture of the body affects the mind also. Therefore, the body is made steady and free from any movement. And to help the mind, so the body now does not become a factor disturbing the mind. To concentrate the mind, Lord Krishna gives one further guidance. Sampreksha nasikagram swam. Swam nasikagram sampreksha. Focusing the attention on the tip of the nose. In the conclusion of this 5th chapter, those two verses where Lord Krishna described the meditation, sparshan krutva bahirbhashyan chakshussevan tare bho. So there Lord Krishna said, may you focus your sight between the two eyebrows. That's what Lord Krishna said. Here, may you focus your eyes upon the tip of the nose. So that's your choice. The point is that when the eyes or the pupils are steady, that is when it helps steadying the mind. Mind is unsteady, the pupils become unsteady. So you start from the pupils, make the pupils steady, then the mind also will become steady. And so one hint here is that may you focus your gaze at the tip of the nose to begin with. Shankaracharya says, don't take this in a primary sense. Because meditation here is not meant for meditating upon the tip of the nose, meant for meditating upon the self. But here the gaze is focused upon the tip of the nose as just a temporary, help to steady the mind. And then the mind must be then focused upon their object of meditation. Disascha anavalokayan, also not looking in different directions. That's the habit that we have. What happened there? What happened? Your mind is always concerned with the various things. And so, what's the time? Who came? So that is what usually we are doing. And therefore, during meditation also, mind may have come back to this habit. And what's happening out there? Who is watching? Who is... This is anavaloka, and therefore not looking in different directions. So give up all those concerns, mainly. We look in different directions because the mind is unsteady and mind is concerned about things. And habitually it looks around or it's concerned about what is around. So make the mind free from those things. Let mind relax now, let everything be where it is. Everything is in order. I am in order, the world is also in order. I don't have to worry about what the time is because I have enough time, so I am relaxed. I have no other agenda. I don't have to worry about, sometimes in group meditation, you worry, how is this fellow meditating? So that also you should give up concern. Just curiosity is there. So make the mind free from curiosities, concerns, habitual wandering. Because eyes, I think, are the most unsteady thing in a way in our body. So as the mind is unsteady, eyes also become unsteady. So steady the eyes, mind also becomes steady. Disascha anavalokayan. Refraining from looking into various directions. Not looking, refraining from looking in different directions. So these verses, these 4 verses, and this Lord Krishna has described the preparations required for meditation, the preparation of the body, the preparation of sense organs, the preparation of mind, the preparation of intellect, you can say, in terms of your agenda. So all that, all the instructions, the important that this can be elaborated as much as you want. And there are texts which give us elaborate descriptions. Lord Krishna does not engage into those elaborate descriptions. An outline is given here. If you feel that we need some more information, you can look up. But then, the necessary outline is given by Lord Krishna as preparation for meditation. We'll continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.